Hi guys, welcome. This is Charity's Bubble USA, your #1 channel. I'm going to work, guys. I'm going to work. I have a 8-hour shift. That's not too long. I'm gonna go from 2 to 10. But I was like, let me do a video here and talk about an issue that came up during my live show. So thank you for subscribing to my channel. For those who are new, you're welcome in this space. My name is Charity Nganga. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Always give my videos a thumbs up or like them. Just give it a like. It won't cost you much to give it a like. Just give it a like. If you can go a mile ahead and leave a comment there, you can go a mile ahead and ask a question, and I will always acknowledge you. So guys, I want to talk about a question that one of my viewers asked, and it's important because in the world that we are living in, sometimes as parents we feel like we have failed, and sometimes we try to do all our best, but what I say is that do your best as a parent. Teach your kids the right way, and when they grow up they are not going to leave it, and you are not going to regret. You won't have any regrets, and that's kind of how I do it, and that's the basis of our topic today. So my viewers asked how do you bring up children in the US, because we hear that children are not beaten up. Now, what I would say is that corporal punishment here is prohibited. Corporal punishment is whereby you beat up your kids and you mistreat them and whatever. That's not allowed here. If you are caught, you will be jailed. That's abuse. It's called abuse, and you cannot do that. And you know, I've been watching a lot of stuff that's going on in Kenya, and I know that there's some rules whereby the teachers do not discipline the children anymore, of which I remember in our time, and those times have gone, but I kind of miss those times. Our parents were more stricter. They were more strict. The teachers were strict. They had the authority to question. And I remember during our time, we didn't have fires in the dormitories, you know, and we didn't have very bad things that are going on right now among the young people. We didn't have a lot of drug issues. I remember very well. They were there, yes, but they were one story here and there, but they were not very popular. But I think the world has changed and everything has changed, and I think the African way, even wanting to be westernized, really affects everything, or it just comes into play. And it's okay for people to be liberated. It's okay for people to feel free. It's okay for everybody to bring up their child the way they are supposed to. But I'm a Christian, and I always refer to the Bible because I know the Bible is a good book. But if you remember very well, even the beloved of God, the children of Israel, when God took them out of Egypt and he wanted to take them to the promised land, they were his favorite people. You know, they were in his good books, but they sinned. And being the favorite, that did not stop God from punishing them. It didn't. Because if God had just been quiet, those people would have done very bad things. Remember when I just like to refer to the Bible because I know all of us, even if you're a Christian or even if you're not a Christian, there's a certain power or a certain being that you ask from guidance from, and it's a law. You know, like for example, if you come here in the US, you must buckle up. This one, you have to put it on. It's the law. And that's what I tell my kids when they get into my car. There is no argument. I tell them, you buckle up, it's the law. You know, because it is. They have to follow the laws. And a land without laws, it's unmanageable. And that's why even God had to make the 10 commandments. Even if they were broken, he had to tell Moses, go back there and make those rules because they have to be followed. The same case, whether you are an African, whether you are an American or whatever, it doesn't matter. There has to be rules, because without rules, like right now I'm going to work, right? I have to be there on time. If I'm late several times, I will be, you know, something is going to happen. My boss is going to come and ask me questions because there are rules that I have to follow. So the same case in your house. It doesn't matter whether you don't have to beat up your children when you come here in the US, but You have to make those kids understand that they are laws in your house, that they must be followed. They must abide to them for there to be order. Because without laws, there is no order. So how do we, so that the question was like, how do we punish our kids? Or do we punish them, or do we just leave them? Number one, we don't just leave them. Like mine, I don't just leave them. But there are ways. So for example, you look at the age. For example, my preteen. I'm going to talk about what I have. My preteen, she has a phone. And she loves her phone. Like that's a major thing. So she knows that that phone comes with conditions. They are called, I call them sanctions. My husband calls them sanctions. He's the one who started calling, so we call them sanctions. So if she doesn't do what she's required to do, if she doesn't clean up her room, if she doesn't take a shower when she's supposed to, if she doesn't do her homework, if she is rude, she knows that I am going to take that phone. I will take it. And I don't take it for one day. No, I will take it and for an indefinite time. Because that one, you know, when you deny something, they feel like they are shortchanged, so they tend to correct. Number two, dialogue. I always sit down with my children and talk to them. I create time to talk to them. I talk to them about life. I talk to them about everything. Every action has a consequence. So that means if you want to do this, there has to be a consequence for it. I do a lot of dialogue in my house. And I did the same with Eric. And I did a video with him, and if you haven't watched that video, just watch it and tell me what you think about it. But I feel at this time that I wouldn't say that I have done the best, but I know that I have done a good job raising that boy, because right now he's an adult. At 18 you're an adult. So that's that. And that now I have that one. I have to keep on talking, I have to keep on reminding, I have to be constant on those whatever, what is supposed to be done, what is right and what is wrong. I keep on reminding them. I keep them, teaching them how to be appropriate, and I do it by example. That is number one. I also have a 6-year-old. So how do I go about my 6-year-old? I talk about timeout, whereby if they do something wrong, they know that they will go and sit in a corner for a few minutes, which they don't like, and that one goes with you can look at the years that someone has. So like my 6-year-old, I'll put her in timeout for 6 minutes. And then it doesn't end there. Or a trouble chair. You know, there's a little chair that you put on or you can put in the corner and just tell that child to go and sit there. Nobody wants to be looked on bad. You know, nobody wants to be in the bad books. And then after that you discuss why did you go to the trouble chair, or why did you go to timeout, or why were you sent in your room? Because even look at the system. Look at the system everywhere in the world. When people do bad things, when people are criminals, they are isolated. They are put in jail. So if you take your child and you isolate them for those 6 minutes, or even the older one, you can isolate them even for like my preteen. I can isolate her even for 12 minutes. They don't like it because nobody, you know, the human mind, the way it is, nobody likes to be isolated. Everybody wants to be in the good books, and they want everything to be running smoothly. So those are ways. And another thing that you have to learn is to dialogue with your kids. Oh my goodness, that's a big one. Oh, you have to have those communications going. You have to be a parent, and at the same time, you have to be a friend, and put an environment whereby they are free to ask you any questions. Now, for example, when I just watch my daughter, my preteen, and every time when we are having a conversation, she's like, Mom, I have a question. Mom, I have a question. Mom, I have a question. Because I have created an environment whereby she is not scared of me and she can ask me anything. And since she's growing up, I have to teach her, and I have to tell her, this is how the world goes. If you do this, these are the consequences. This is how you're supposed to live. This is how you're supposed to treat your friends. This is how you are not supposed to let your friends treat you. This is I even teach her to say no. Especially, you know, our teenagers, they like to fit in, which is okay. because it's a stage of life that they are passing, and that fitting in sometimes puts them in trouble. So I have to be there to tell her it's okay to say no, you know, it's okay to say no. And I know it's hard, and I grew up in that environment whereby saying no was very hard. Saying no felt like you were hurting someone's feelings. But you have to say no if it is not appropriate, if it's gonna put you in trouble. For example, sometimes I tell my daughter, if someone asks them a question and they feel like they are not supposed to ask them that question. You know, there are some questions that are just inappropriate. So what I tell her is that instead of being rude, ask them a question, reply with a question. So someone has asked you, why is this, or why you know, any question. So I tell her, if you don't want to answer it, just ask them the question back and ask them, what do you think? You know what I mean? It might sound rude, but you have answered that question with a question. So when you ask that person, what do you think? Normally, if it was appropriate, they will explain further why they want to know. But if it was not appropriate, then they will back off. That's how I teach her, because I like, if you really don't want to answer it and you feel like they are prying, or maybe it's your personal business, or maybe someone is trying to ask you a question to put you in trouble, because someone can ask you a question, especially these teenagers, preteens, you know, it's so much going on in their life, they're trying to discover themselves. So you find that there are some who will want to ask someone a question, but they want to put them in trouble, so they will ask them, for example, do you like me, you know? And then maybe you say yes or no, depending on the answer that you will say. And then someone might create a story from there and say, oh, she said that she doesn't like me, whatever. So to avoid all that, what I normally tell my daughter is that if she feels like a question is not appropriate, then she answers the question with an answer. With a question, sorry. So if someone has asked, then you're like, what do you think? So what does that do? That puts the asker of the question in a position to explain more, and if it is inappropriate, then they will back off. You know what I mean? Because that's one thing that you have to teach your children, how to stand up for themselves, because here, like they just have to stand up for themselves because of bullying and everything. And you also have to talk about bullying with your kids, because for some reason bullying is a thing here in the US. Like, it's just there. You find that there are kids who are really not so nice, and they will tend to bully. So first of all, I teach them, this is how a bully comes in, and this is what you do. You have to report. You know, you have to report if someone is bullying you, because you do not want your kid to go into depression. You know, I remember, you know, that reminds me when I was in class 5, and you know, it was, I know, I look at it, it was kind of bullying, but I didn't know whether it was bullying. I remember I used to sit down with a boy. I was given a desk with this boy. I was in class 5, and I was a very, very bright kid in my class, like very, 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 very sharp. So that boy, for some reason, never liked me. So when I went to sit, I remember we used to sit 2 people in a desk. So he got not a razor, he had something sharp, and he made a line. He took 3/4 of the desk and made a line, and then he colored it with a blue pen, and he told me, you cannot come beyond this line. So he had 3/4 and I had 1/4. And at that time, I did not know how to fight for myself. I did not even know how to question. So that went on for a while, and I never said anything. And actually, it was like that until I finished class 5. And it's what it is. But when I look at it at that time, so I always think of my daughter being in a position with someone like that, who wants to bully them, or who wants to show them that they don't have any equal right or whatever. So I try to teach them to stand up, to report, because it's very important for them to report to the teacher, to report to any, like, you know, an adult, so that it can be tackled. And you find that if you teach your kids to like to recognize those positions, they will be able to talk about them. And if you feel like it's bad, like it's not working, maybe you have gone extra miles and you have done 1, 2, 3, then you always have a right maybe to get your child out of danger, because it is what it is, and some situations cannot be fixed. So that's how we bring up our kids here. If it's your little one, like my 3-year-old right now, she no is her slogan. Everything is no. So what I have to do is that I try to talk to her at an eye level. So when I am talking to her and she's sitting maybe on a low chair, I tend to sit on the floor or to lay down on the floor so that I am looking at her direct into the eyes, because direct contact, even with all my children, direct contact is very important, because you're looking at them, you're trying to read their mind, you're trying to read their thoughts, and I try to do an activity with her and have her focused. And if she, they tend to digress, or they tend to take attention, because the attention span of a 3-year-old and a 5, I watch my kids very closely. So if the attention span of my 3-year-old is not the same one like for my 5-year-old, I try to put her right on the task, so that not for a very long time, maybe we can be coloring, and I want her to color and finish that picture, but she doesn't want to, she wants to do something else. I always put her back so that she can learn to stay on task, because it's important for her to stay on task. But you never go wrong. So you do time out, you do a lot of conversations, and your kids will turn out right. They will turn out right. But if you are that parent who is an absentee parent, you're never there, and that's what's happening, especially in the African community, that we come here and we just want to work and make that money. We forget about our kids, and we don't create time for them. Even them, they don't have that love. And it's it's sad, but it's the truth, because we don't have that time. When I came in here, I did my own, I like to observe things, but I found out that there are some ladies who have gone to school, and they have they have good education and everything, and they could be working, but they choose to be stay-at-home moms. It's because they want to spend time with their children. They want to see their children growing up and all that. Sometimes as immigrants, we might not have that luxury, but it's always good to create time to be with them, spend time with them, talk with them, listen to what's going on with them. Like, for example, I know me and my daughters, every week we have like a bedtime talk, whereby we go, and we do it in every room. We do it in my room, we do it in Christine's room, we do it in Olivia's bed. So everybody's bed, we just go there and have a talk, and they tell me how their week was. They tell me what they liked, what they did not like on that week, and I tell them how my week was. We just have that dialogue, a girl talk with them, and that really helps, because it helps them to open up, and like I kind of try to know what's going on in their life. So that's how you do it here in the US, but you cannot come with corporal punishment. That one doesn't work here, but you can do parenting and bring up beautiful kids. It all depends on your focus, and you have to be present. You cannot be an absentee parent here in the US, guys. This is different. These kids are so open that they will tell you to the face, you are not there for me, so I am not going to be there for you, because that's how they are taught. That is how they are trained, that even a parent needs to be there for them. So if you want to come and you are working like, you don't even have time for them, then that's going to happen, and it happens a lot, and you will not know when bad things happen. Another thing that I don't like, and I have banned in my house, I know some people don't agree with me, I don't like sleepovers. My kids do not go for a sleepover. If they want to go somewhere to visit, they can go during the day, and they can come back, and that's it, period. Why? Because those sleepovers, sometimes they can bring trouble, because you don't know what other people do. You don't know whether you are, you can be friends with someone, but you don't know what they do when nightfall comes in. You don't know. So for me, I don't have like 100% trust with people, especially when it comes to my children. So I just banned the sleepovers, because the sleepovers sometimes, there have been stories whereby there have been sleepovers, a girl gets pregnant, this boy made this girl pregnant, and all that stuff. I'm not saying that maybe I can protect my kids 100%, but if I know that something can go wrong because of something that they did, then I try to avoid it. So for me, sleepovers is a no. They want to go visit, yes, but it has to be during the day. It has to be supervised, and then I take my kids home. Hi guys. So this is another part that I'm going to add to the video that I was doing about disciplining the children. So we talked about how to discipline them. Now there's another thing that you need to do. You need to be able to praise them. That's important. Oh my goodness, that goes a long way. So let's assume that you had punish them because of something. Maybe they were not sharing, or maybe they did not clean up their room, or maybe they did not maybe put their plate on the trash after they finished their food, or they didn't clean up the table, because those are some of the things that you have to teach them. You have to teach them cleanliness. You have to teach them being kind. Maybe they were not kind to one another. And then the next day, or maybe at some time, the mistake that they had done, they do it the way that you had told them. Maybe they were not sharing and now they have started sharing, or maybe they, anything. You have to be able to praise them. That's something that will go a long way. Tell them you're doing a good job, or you did a good job, you are awesome, all those nice words. Everybody likes to be praised, guys. When I do my videos and I see like you guys have liked them, or maybe you have made a comment, it makes me feel good, because everybody likes to be appreciated, guys, And it's the same case with our kids. They want to be praised. They want to be appreciated. So that is another thing that is very, 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 very important for you to do as a parent. So it's not only just putting them on timeout or sending them to their rooms or whatever. No. You have to be able to praise your children. You have to be able to be there for them. They're having like an activity. Maybe they were having an activity and they did very well in the activity. Maybe there was a graduation, or maybe they were going for a music or just to do a presentation. You have to be able to show up as a parent. You have to be able to buy them a gift. Gifts are not very expensive. Like if you want to buy a child a gift that is going to be very expensive, no. Buy them a gift, praise them, tell them you did a good job, tell them you are awesome, tell them you're the best in this world, Those are some of the things that we'll have to be doing. I know it's hard because some of us grew up with not being praised by our parents, but when you praise them, it raises their confidence, and at the same time, it makes them want to do better, because most kids, they thrive to please their parents. That's how it is. So if they know that if they do a good thing that you will praise them, then they will continue doing good. But you cannot just be implementing discipline and you are not showing them that side of appreciating them and showing them that they are important, You have to do all that. Another thing that I have learned to do with my toddler, and also my 6-year-old, sometimes I have to do that because they are younger. I don't give them like options. For example, if let's assume it's time to go to take a shower, time to go to bed, or time to eat, I don't ask them, are you hungry? Or do you want to take a shower? Or do you want to eat? I don't ask them that. What I say is that it's time to eat. That's how I do it. It's time to eat. Or it's time to go take a shower. Or it's time to go to bed. Now, like, there's a bedtime in my house. It's 8 p.m. 8 p.m., they should be in bed. Doesn't matter whether that night I will be working and it's my husband who is going to be home. We have a bedtime for them. And they have to stick to the bedtime. So, for us, we don't give our kids options like, do you want to do this? No, if it's supposed to be done and it's essential, then it's time to do it. So that I'm not going to give them a leeway of telling me today is Saturday, so we can go to bed late. No. What I do is like, it's time to go to bed because it's 8 p.m. You're tired. Yes, it's Saturday. You don't have school tomorrow, but you've been playing all day. So you're tired. You need to rest. You see what I mean? So you have to be able to do that, so that when they grow up and they are older, then they will know that there's a bedtime. But if you start giving them options, then that's where the problem comes in. So that one has really helped me out, whereby I'm not asking like, do you want to eat some food? No, it's time to eat food. Then all of us will sit in the dining table and we are gonna eat the food because it's time for dinner. That's how I feel like it's better. Especially with the little ones. And you find that since I started doing that, I told you guys that when I came here, Christine was around 4. So I had a little bit of adjusting. We did have a little bit of adjusting that year and the other year. But by the time she was 6, now we started teaching her that her bedtime was 8. and that's it. She knows that when she comes from school, it's homework time, and then after homework, and then maybe they can watch the TV for a little bit, maybe like 30 minutes, and then there's reading time. You can read a story, you know, and then it's time for bed. 8 p.m. we go to bed, because it is what it is. And I know, and my daughter has stuck to that system. So if you teach them when they are young, that's how they're gonna grow up. So that one is, I find it good, because we don't fight a lot, and we don't have all those power struggles of like whatever, you know. So those are some of the things that you can do. And be there, guys. Be there to appreciate them. Be there to take them for games. Be there to attend their events. Don't be an absentee parent. You know, and I'm gonna talk about this, like, for example, because I lived in Kenya some part of my adult life. So I would say, like, there was this trend of hiring a housemaid because you have to go to work, which is okay. So you have this housemaid, she's the one who takes care of your children. And of course, if she's the one who is taking care of your children, she's not going to be able to teach them your values. She will teach them how she was brought up, because that's what she knows. She cannot teach what she doesn't know. And you find that the kids will grow up. Yes, it's okay, because we have to do adjustments when we have to go and get them provisions. But at the same time, you cannot leave it entirely to the house girl. Now, that used to happen a lot in Kenya, because you had to have a house girls. You would even have to. Nowadays, they are called house managers. It's okay to have them, but you really need to know that you still need to have time for those kids. Because when you come here in the US, it's totally different. It's you and your children. Sometimes you might not be able to hire a babysitter because it's expensive, and you are not going to be able to afford it. So it is you and your spouse, if you have one, to split your time and make sure that your kids are taken care of. So you have to be able to learn how to coexist with them. You know, sometimes you can look and see families. I would see families, especially when the kids had stayed for so long with the house. You know, sometimes you can get a very good house help, and they have stayed with your kids from the time they were little until they have grown up. And when you look at the family, you find that the girl or the kids tend to go to the house girl more than they go to the mom. Yeah, it happens like that. But here in the US, it's not going to be like that. It's you and your kids. So you have to, what I talked about before, you have to be able to incorporate it so that you are able to coexist with your kids. Because since the time that they are born, you will be with them. You might take them to a babysitter once or twice. That is, if when you have settled, you will need to go to a babysitter. It's especially if like you really need to. Then it is not gonna be for all the time. It's gonna be for a few hours, maybe when you're going to work, and then you go and grab back your kids. That's how it's done. So you have to learn how to coexist with them. Maybe if you came from Africa and you had all these house girls, and then you come here and now it's different, then you have to know how to, you have to know them. You don't want to grow up like we grew up, like you feel like you knew your parents but you didn't know them very well, or maybe your parents thought that they knew you but they didn't know you very, very well. No, you don't want to. Those ages are gone. Communication is very important, not only between you and your children, even in a marriage, if you're married, or even wherever that you are going, it's very, very important for you to have communication. So I hope that this video is going to help someone, especially the parents who are planning to immigrate here to come with their children. Those are just tips I've shared of what I do, and it has worked, and what has not worked, I try to modify it. And I try to read a lot of books. I do read a lot of books just to get, because when you read, you get a lot of knowledge. That's how I do it. So guys, maybe you will get an insight from there, and just maybe have just an overview on how you can do it your best, because every parent strives to be the best. I strive to be the best. I strive to give my kids the best. And if you give them the best, all the tools that they need in this world, and you create time for them, even if they live the ways that you showed them, they will still remember, and you will not have anything to regret. You will not have anything to say that I didn't do this, or I wasn't there for my kids, or you don't know like what happened to your daughters. You missed some, some important milestones in their lives. You missed their choir practice. You missed, anything, because I want you to be there. You missed their game practice. No, don't do that. You have to be there. You have to be there all the time. I'd rather miss work and go for my daughter's choir practice. Even if they have an activity in school, I'd rather miss work and go, because I have to go. For me, it doesn't matter. I have to go. So if you come with that spirit, then and pray to God, for your children all the time, you will do well. You will do well. And it's not hard. It's doable, but you have to be focused, and you have to know that it's a full-time job to be a parent. And you also have to remember that God gave you that responsibility to take care of those kids. And if you do not treat them right, if you do not bring them up right, then you will have a case to answer. So guys, I hope you'll enjoy this video. Look out for more videos. I have reached my job. I will talk to you soon. Thank you, and God bless you.